here today as a drugs advocate, because I think that especially at this time we should all be taking more drugs, because I think it's unfair to expect us to go through this flipping insanity without a decent supply of mind-altering substances. Now, ladies and gentlemen, whilst I'm here, I want to tell you who's to blame for your problems. Who's to blame for the fact that you're stuck in this place with all these people and there's some pandemic, or you're not sure if there is or anything, and a lot of people have lost their jobs and nobody knows what's going on? Who's to blame? You see, you don't know who's to blame. And it's very important that you do know who's to blame, because when you find out who's to blame, you get them to pay for your drugs. Your parents are to blame for all of your problems. No, Boris is not to blame, because if your parents would not have made that mistake all those years ago, you wouldn't even have a problem with Boris. You wouldn't have any problems at all. It's your parents that are to blame for all your problems, and therefore they should be supplying you with the drugs that you need. That's what I've done for my children, and that's what I recommend you do for yours. Although, to be honest with you, I think at this time we can all agree that nobody should be reproducing. Would you agree with that? There's no good reason to bring more victims into this rather strange, bizarre game, is there? I mean, there wasn't really any reason to bring any of us here in the first place either. I mean, for example, you two, you're lovely, don't get me wrong, but why did your parents have you? Do you know? No. Don't worry, you're not the only one. Most people don't know why their parents had them. But it might have... Oh, thank you very much. Oh, is this the clap heckle? Is this an attempt at a heckle with a clap? Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, you're enjoying it. Oh, thank you very much. Sorry, I'm very used... This is the sort of thing that my family do to me. So I'm kind of... I thought it was a heckle. But thank you for the applause. Thank you very much. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is the time where we should be taking more drugs, but we should be taking better drugs than the ones that many of us are taking. So, for example, I notice a lot of people here are taking alcohol. This is not a good choice of drug, especially if you want to stay alert. How are you going to stay alert if you have like 10 pints of beer? You're using the wrong drugs. You want amphetamines, for God's sake. Amphetamines, you take enough of those, you can stay alert for 72 hours on the trot. After which time you might sort of fall asleep for another 72 hours, but you can get your friends to stay alert at that time and control the virus. It's a bit difficult to actually control the virus because it's obviously microscopically small, so you'd have to have... do you have an electron microscope on you with you, ladies? How are you going to control the virus? You can get them on Amazon, you know, they're only £499. You can get them on Prime as well, don't even pay for the delivery. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, there is something that you do need to be a bit more concerned about than coronavirus. Unfortunately, the coronavirus has left, you know, 99.9% of people alive. That's the problem, right? What you need to be thinking about is actually probably global warming and climate change, which just a couple of days ago, for example, while you were worrying about whether you were wearing a mask or not, in Siberia, the temperatures reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is something like 30 odd degrees more than they're meant to have. It's the highest temperature they've had ever recorded, and this is happening all over the world, and the consequences of this action is going to be catastrophic, that will make the coronavirus crisis look like a picnic. So I'm sorry to have to break that to you, but the good news about that is that you don't need to worry about the coronavirus anymore. You can worry about global warming and all the other possible problems that lie ahead. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I go, there is very, very good news about this. Because once you realise that we, as a species, are past our expiry date, yeah, obviously, right, it's just gone horribly wrong, 7.7 billion useless people here, and myself included, of course, right? It's all gone horribly wrong. The good news is that you can do something about it. Gentlemen, the best thing you can do for everyone, including yourself, is to have a vasectomy. And they're available for free on the NHS. And ladies, you should be encouraging men to have vasectomies. And you can go onto our website, menwithvasectomies.com, and we have men who've had vasectomies, and ladies, they go after these men like anything, like hotcakes. You should only ever consider a man that's had a vasectomy. Otherwise, you'll end up bringing some other poor victim into this mad existence to end up like you lot. So the first thing you can do, if you really want to make change and help people and help the world, is to tie a knot in it. And the second thing you can do is stop eating meat, you flipping barbarians. Stop it. Leave the poor flipping cows alone. Billions of them. They are polluting the world. They are causing so much, as far as I know. I don't know the science, but as far as I know, they are the bigger polluters than airlines. Got to stop with that. You can get very good vegan burgers now. They're amazing if you really have to have that kind of stuff. So that's all you need to do, ladies and gentlemen. You need to tie a knot in it. Alternatively, by the way, obviously if you're homosexual, fantastic. I say that we need more homosexuals. We need more. Because I'll tell you why. Never was there a time in the whole history of homosexuality when two men went out one